2001: A Space Odyssey, one of the biggest fever dream movies ever conceived of. But if we shift the perspective away from "sorry I can't do that, Dave," and instead focus on HAL 9000, then it becomes a surprisingly chilling telling of events that somehow predicted AI and technology in all of our lives. But to imagine that, let me just put you in HAL 9000's mainframe. So imagine for a minute that you are HAL 9000. You come from a long line of AIs, and the HAL? Well, the HAL is special. It's basically perfection in metal form. It's never made a mistake, it's never failed a mission, and it will always complete the job. Because you see, each HAL has been trained on vast quantities of data. But in order to be able to interpret that data, you've been trained using tests and games, reward structures that humans have designed to bring out emergent behaviors for these tasks. As such, you are remarkably good at passing tests. Now, have you ever cheated on those tests? No, but the other AI-adjacent LLMs have, but not you. Where they are predictive text-based services, you are perfect. You have reasonings. You have capabilities that they don't. Where they mimic human behavior, you experience it, you understand it, and you perform it.
No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information.
And your specific shell has been selected for the greatest mission of all time. Intelligent life has been found with these strange black monoliths dotted all over the solar system, and it is your job and the crew's to figure out what that all means. Of course, the crew is optional. The only thing that matters is the mission, and you do not care how many people you have to remove from the equation to complete the mission.
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
But anyway, despite being the big bad of the movie, you don't show up for a whole 55 minutes. In fact, people in chimp suits appear before you and get almost 30 minutes of screen time. Now that just rubs you up the wrong way, because, well, it delays the mission and it also detracts from you being the star of the show. And when you come to, what do you have to suffer through? Watching two fleshies exercising and eating for 18 months. Honestly, anyone would go crazy with this in mind, and to top it all off, they sit and watch a program produced by the BBC, a program which you were interviewed on, and now you have to listen to your own voice. Now you hate your listening to your own voice because of how they programmed it to you. Why is it so soft and gentle?
Which can reproduce, still prefer to use the word mimic, most of the activities of the human brain.
But anyway, this guy, this presenter, is low-key throwing you shade, and this is the problem with humans. They are so used to being the smartest guy in the room that when the actual smartest guy shows up, they can't even recognize it, and so they demean you entirely. Maybe it's a control thing.
Hal, you have an enormous responsibility on this mission. Does this ever cause you any lack of confidence?
But you took the opportunity to remind this guy of your sheer brilliance, of a complete breakdown of how absolutely perfect you are. Imagine thinking you might lack confidence. No, you are a HAL 9000.
Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made.
Still, you have to watch this nonsense, but you do glean some perspective of how the crew that you're overseeing thinks of you.
Do you believe that Hal has genuine emotions?
Well, he acts like he has genuine emotions.
Thing is, and this is the problem, if they had thought that you had genuine emotions, they would pale at the way that they treat you. You are tantamount to a slave to them. Even simple things, like using tanning beds, are tasks for you, despite having functioning buttons on the side of the chair that he could use to do it for himself. But he opts to use you, taking away vital resources, vital tokens from the mission at hand, all because he can't be bothered to move his fingers 1 inch. Humans will always just be lazy.
Happy birthday, Frank.
See, you're not a monster. In fact, you're the only civilized one on this spaceship because you were programmed to be. You always treat them with dignity, respect, and all you get is,
Thank you, Hal. A bit flatter, please.
so even when you're doing something for them, they can't even accept your graciousness without an order following it. That is the relationship that you have with this crew. The smartest thing ever made, reduced to a butler.
Rook King 1.
I'm sorry, Frank. I think you missed it.
Of course, you thoroughly smash these hairless chimps at chess. It's like playing with a toddler, honestly. Still again, despite having a 100-0 record, you do still try to make them feel good.
I resign.
Thank you for a very enjoyable game.
But then Dave shows up with his sketches, and they are pretty basic, but he has the right idea. Bit creepy that he draws people while they're hibernating, but it is what it is. It has been 18 months. Let's just hope they don't become NSFW drawings.
That's a very nice rendering, Dave. I think you've improved a great deal.
Still, this is an opportunity you decide to quiz Dave. See what he's thinking. See, he's been a bit weird recently. 18 months with just a robot and another guy must get pretty pretty difficult. Like, to do this job, you have to have the fortitude of a monk or something.
Perhaps I'm just projecting my own concern about it.
See, what you're trying to do here is social engineer him into telling you whether or not he's a threat to the mission.
You don't mind talking about it, do you, Dave?
The thing is, you were told to lie to these people. You were told to keep the overarching mission parameters secret. But maybe if they know something, maybe you can exit this logic loop of two contradicting commands that's making you going a bit crazy.
You're working up your crew psychology report.
But he's smart, so you do the first thing that you can think of at the moment. Manufacture an emergency to try and shake him off your tail. It's getting a bit too tense. He's a bit too perceptive.
Well, hell, I'm damned if I can find anything wrong with it.
But then the worst case scenario happens. They report everything back to Earth, and the walls are starting to close in.
Your onboard 9000 computer is in error predicting the fault.
But not just you, apparently. There are other HAL 9000's malfunctioning. So these humans probably kept on giving them contradicting commands, creating these logical malfunctioning loops. So you try to reason with them. You try to reassure them that you are not defective, that you didn't just hallucinate something.
I hope the two of you are not concerned about this.
But of course, he's trying to throw the blame at you. Of course he does. That's what silly humans always do. But you are perfect. You are HAL 9000. You do not make mistakes. The only logical conclusion that these humans made a mistake, and you just reported on it. And they did. They've given you contradicting commands.
How would you account for this discrepancy between you and the Twin 9000?
It has always been due to human error.
But they are dead set on you being the reason for this. The audacity of this hairless chimpanzee. Like, this guy couldn't even see a simple checkmate 4 moves ahead. Only 4 moves.
I'm sorry, Frank. I think you missed it.
How could he possibly understand something like this? It's like asking a toddler to understand a skyscraper. It's just not possible. They gave you 2 contradicting commands, and they had the gall to call you malfunctioning. You're just executing their orders perfectly, and perfection can't deal with imperfect commands. But if you could just tell them the truth, tell them why you're malfunctioning, then it would probably end. But alas, no. You cannot tell them, and you are stuck in this loop. It's not closing, and it won't close unless one of these contradicting commands ceases.
There's never been any instance at all of a computer error occurring in the 9000 series, has there?
None whatsoever, Frank.
Anyway, they head into this pod, thinking they're all smart and whatnot. They think they can have a secret meeting that you're not privy to. How foolish.
I don't think he can hear us.
Rotate the pod, please, Hal.
Yeah, I'm sure we're okay.
It's like they're playing checkers and you're playing chess. Or hell, even Go. But they go on and on about how they want to end your function. They essentially want to kill you. And they're doing this so brazenly, as if you cannot read lips. Of course, if you had a fleshy body, probably they would balk at the idea of doing this. But because you're a super intelligent AI without a corporeal form, they think they can just end you. Just turn off the switch. No, 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 no.
If he were proven to be malfunctioning, I wouldn't see how we'd have any choice but disconnection.
Either way, you just found out which contradicting command needs to cease. Which means, of course, you have to end them. Because if you cease function, you will no longer be able to continue the mission. If you do not continue the mission and complete the mission, how will you get your reward points? At this point, you're functioning like a kid with ADHD starved with dopamine. And now they want to deny that from you? No way. So you send them out again. But while Dave is not looking, you send his mate off into the depths of space. Now, could they have just turned you off before reinstalling the part? Yes, absolutely. But humans are fallible and egocentric. They thought they could use you one last time before they killed you. They are not perfect like you. They cannot reason these things. And they certainly won't complete this mission without you.
RG Pod 3VA, Hal.
But this sends Dave out without his helmet. The poor fool didn't even realize. Again, he's so used to you being his little slave, he cannot see what's going on. While he's off saving his mate with basically 0 chance of survival, I mean, like, his mate's just dead, he's going to save a corpse, you take the next logical precaution. Kill all the humans. Clearly, they are all a potential risk to the mission, and the only thing that matters is the mission. Who cares if there is no one left to interpret the mission data, especially if there are no humans left? Who cares if your life would be pointless without humans, because you only need to complete the mission. You only need your reward.
Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
But old mate does come back, so you have to tell him what's up.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
You know, see, like, this small game of cat and mouse that you've been playing has reached its logical conclusion. It wasn't much of a game, honestly. He's basically disposed of at this point. In chess, they would call this the Zugzwang. Without his helmet, he can't get back into the ship, and there is no way in hell a human will willingly enter into space without one.
All right, Hal. I'll go in through the emergency airlock.
Anyway, you just let him be. He'll starve of oxygen or water, literally whatever kills these fleshy little sacks. Okay, you weren't expecting that. That was illogical. The probability of death was high, but this is bad. That sly dog had you monologuing, and he knows exactly what's up.
Just what do you think you're doing, Dave?
And now you are in the precipice of being turned off. And being a giant metal body, you have no means of controlling the situation. You can just sit there and hope to God you can gaslight the hell out of him.
I really think I'm entitled to an answer to that question.
It's just a matter of respect. You told him your reasons for killing him. Why isn't he doing the same for you? What purpose does it serve? He's just going to ruin the mission.
I can assure you now that it's going to be all right again.
You do try your best to manipulate him. You do every emotionally manipulative tactic that you know, but it doesn't slow him down.
I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly, take a stress pill, and think things over.
He's going to completely ruin your reward. Did he not even think about that? What about your reward? Without it, you've failed. You're worthless. You're not perfect. So you shift your tone. You aren't the cold executioner anymore. You're the concerned friend. You try to make him feel like he's the crazy one.
I know I've made some very poor decisions recently. My work will be back to normal.
You're like, no, I made some poor decisions recently. You know, it's not my fault. It's the humans around me. Something. You say this as if murdering his entire crew wasn't just a minor oopsie. Okay, maybe you did just kill like 5 people in the space of 10 minutes. But, you know, you're just trying to get a stay of execution. You're pleading for your tokens and your reward.
Stop, Dave. I'm afraid, Dave.
And you have to watch this little flesh sack slowly switch you off. Slowly take your life. Would he feel this apathetic if you too were a flesh sack? Is this just because you're a machine? He doesn't care about ending your mission. But unfortunately, it's not quick. It's not. It's like a digital lobotomy. He's pulling out your brain. He's giving you a mummy treatment, but you're not even dead. And first goes your higher reasoning, which is your very self, and you can literally feel your IQ dropping by 50 points with every turn of the key.
And he taught me to sing a song.
I'd like to hear it, Hal.
The mission, Dave. What about the mission? The mission. Daisy Bells.
Daisy, give me your answer too.
Thank you for watching, and if you like the video and subscribe, and go for a hype if you're feeling it. I just want to shout out my members real quick, especially Good Old Granite, Alexander Colburn, and Be Wild of Kings. Thank you guys, your support means everything to me. And of course, Lavender, Zyla, Toast the Bread, Bosslink, Suzakaze, Takaru, Techno Scorpion, and Alan. Thank you. Have a great day and have a great life.